Hey guys, today I want to talk a little bit about tanking, and I'm also with a pro player of Heroes Hearth, Ishb00. And Ishb00, one of the most common questions that I get asked on my channel when it comes to tanking is when should I be engaging and when should I be peeling? After watching a lot of pro play, I've always described tanking like the ebb and flow of the tides of the ocean. You can't really fully commit to one or the other. You need to make quick decisions of what's needed every second, sometimes going in and then out and in and out. Do you feel that there's any accuracy in how I answer that question for my viewers?
Oh no, 100%. Like I definitely think that engages what you should be doing as a tank depends actively on what is happening both on the map in terms of objectives, in terms of level advantages, or just in terms of your team's positioning or the enemy team's positioning. I've often had a lot of people like ask me like am I being too aggro or too passive when really those are things that you should be looking to change over the course of a game where it's like you have moments when it's correct to be more aggressive or moments when it's correct to be more passive. So it's really playing tank is a lot about learning those since the role is so heavily dependent on decision making rather than mechanics like other roles.
That makes sense. Do you feel like there's certain heroes that you feel like you're peeling a lot more, and certain heroes like certain tanks? Because I know a lot of times when I watch Diablos, they always go in, but they never peel. So do you feel like there's certain ones that you should be going in more, or do you think it's just kind of it's still you need to be still doing a lot of both?
Well, certain kits are more friendly towards different styles of play. If a Nubarak, for example, is a kit that's much better at going in, and specifically going in with your team. You cocoon one target and burrow on another target. You need to force a 4v5 during that time. So in this case, peeling's not exactly what you want to do because you want that fight to be over while the enemy's still in the cocoon. Meanwhile, a hero like ETC you're honestly a lot more vulnerable than most tanks, and you've got once you hit level 13, you've got your W, which is a huge peeling tool on a 5-second cooldown, which lets you put a lot more just provide a lot more safety for your backliners. So it's going to depend tank to tank. That being said, you're going to see a lot of the best tanks, and specifically a lot of the tanks that are picked early in rotation in competitive play, as ones that are good at doing both. Garrosh, for example, climbed really high recently, and ETC was high recently as well, specifically because these heroes have the ability to both peel and engage in equal measure.
That's awesome. So yeah, we will get into a game, and we're gonna have you just we're just gonna pick apart your play. We're gonna see what you were thinking when you were doing this play, and we might go into a couple more after that. But yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so we're in the first game, and Ishb00, your team is down by 4 kills. It looks like they are ready to turn in, and most of them are pretty close to the turn in area. So, what's going through your mind right now?
All right, so I would like to direct everyone's attention to the bottom right corner of the map of your screen because that is going to tell you a lot about what's going to happen next. So the basics here is the enemy just got a turn in. They have a second turn in they can do. Because of this first turn in, our team has very low control of the map. All of the waves except for top are heavily pushed into us. We're super pushed into our own base, which means we don't have very good vision of the enemy team. And the enemy has another turn in, which means the enemy's probably just going to try and insta turn in the second the thing is ready, which as you can see at this time, it just respawned recently. So at this point, there should be a little bit of desperation, or I guess not desperation, but a little sense of urgency in my team. We really need to not let them have this chain turn in because chain turn ins are how you snowball this map. They just each one will continue to get more, and if they got another turn in, there's a good chance we'd lose both of our other forts on that, as well as maybe a keep wall or two, and the game would be at a point where they're probably going to hit 16 while we're still around 14, and then they could force with that talent tier. A very bad way to get snowballed on this map. So my team currently doesn't have that urgency, but you're going to see the play I make basically make around that. So just starting this, you're going to see me make a very aggressive play onto this Anubarak. There is no intention right now of me trying to kill him. I just see that he has 11 gems, and I am just trying to stop him. Okay, so pausing it right here. He had 11 gems. I'm just trying to stop the enemy team from turning in. This was actually a super risky play for me to do because I had zero vision of the rest of the team other than Anubarak, so there's a good chance I could have actually just eaten it from that. But as you can see at this point, my little gambit did work out, and my team finally got the memo that we have to stop a turn in. We stopped the turn in. The Malfurion and the Anubarak, neither of them turned in. So at this point in the game, like we've achieved that, and we can now start getting map control while working towards getting our own turn in. So that's our objective here. That being said, in order to do that, I need to create space for my other teammates to turn in. I need specifically the Falstad and the Hanzo to turn in. So I need to make space for them. And if you look at the bottom right corner, we do see the Dahaka showing top. So even though he has dig, we have some space at least until he digs. So starting it back up again, I get rooted. My team finally gets into position. So now I can start looking for kills now that my team is up here. Phoenix is pushing into them good here. I'm going to position on this bottom side right here just for this, as you see. So I positioned on the bottom side of these tunnels so I could specifically get these wall stuns on the top. That being said, my team was doing as I said. My team is getting map control back. My Falstad's middle, my Hanzo is bot. And my Phoenix stopped chasing because his shield went down. So I'm actually going to use the move speed as well as the armor from the charge to just immediately get out. I should no longer pursue this, even though it might have been a good look. Specifically because I do not have the teammates to back me up here. So that's why you're going to see me run immediately away after this. And honestly, the enemy could have potentially capitalized on this, but they are a bit split. You'll see that Malfurion below, and you'll see the Junkrat just now getting there on mount. So I'm going to be walking out, especially because the Dahaka can now dig on me. As I said, I was mostly just trying to make space for my Hanzo and my Falstad, and that has already been done. We now have positioning. Dahaka does dig right here. Just a short note, this flip right here is actually because there's a weird interaction where while Tongue is in midair, if you flip Dahaka, the Tongue will hit you and then you'll flip him and you'll actually cancel Tongue on yourself. It's a little weird interaction, but you can actually protect yourself from Tongues by timing a flip correctly. In this case, I didn't actually hit the timing. That being said, it looks like a full fight is about to break out. You see the arrow in midair. I'm going to try and do an arrow APOC, but the distance is too short and I don't have the time and I mess up. Alright, at this point, you can see my Phoenix just took a lot of damage. My damage dealers are not being protected right now from the bulk of the enemy team here. I really need to try and get in between the damage dealers and the enemy team to protect them at this point, because they are very vulnerable, especially with our Uther positioned on the bottom side like this. Anubarak misses his charge, and that's all the sign I need. Once Anubarak goes in, without his E, he is one of the most vulnerable heroes in the game, so it makes him a very good target. And as I said, I was trying to then protect my teammates, specifically just because of the positioning, because the enemy four-man had direct access to our backline, which is not something I should give them for free as a tank. That being said, at this specific moment, you'll see we're still low. Our Phoenix can't really fight, and our Uther is in Cocoon, which means right now we are effectively in a 3v4, even though we just killed Anubarak. So our first priority should be to fix both of these. We should back off, stall them from getting any turn-ins, and get Phoenix's health back up, and get Uther out of this Cocoon. So that's what you're going to see me do. Alright. Everyone is back on the map. We're now in position. Phoenix has shield. I'm going to start looking back for an engage. We want to capitalize on this 5v4 while the enemy is still overextended, and that's what you're going to see me look for right here. I get a nice little charge around this mine. I was actually really happy to watch that in the replay. Falstad does a really good follow-up here, and this is how we're snowballing, turning 1 kill into 3, I believe. At this point, the Falstad's just trying to survive, so it's my duty to take over the kill other than him. Basically, when you are in a position like this Falstad and you are low on health, if your teammates can capitalize on the kill, let them do it. Don't risk your health. So that's what I was doing, taking over that duty for my team. And just like that, we have won this fight. We get a 3-for-0, I believe, overall. Yeah, the Anubarak has respawned by this time, and we're going to be able to turn this into a turn-in, I believe. Yeah, my teammates were turning in the meantime there. So as you can see, basically, the objective vision as well as teammate positioning were really instrumental in deciding whether I wanted to go in or I was looking to just kind of pressure the enemy front line, hit the Anubarak. So as you can see, these things really do change over time. It's not all just about always dive X target. In this case, you might sometimes run into an issue where people are like, you have to get on the Chromie or she'll kill us all. It's not that simple. There's a lot of ebb and flow to this type of thing. So I hope that kind of demonstrated a bit of it.
No, that was perfect. That explained it well. And yes, there's a small bug on the replay how the web weavers appear blue, and it was raid team that got the web weavers. It says your web weavers are descending, and you can see the kills again. It was 6-2 before. Now it's 6-5. So they came back from a losing fight because he took the initiative to push in when they were turning in, and it took it was just a really, really good play. So I thought that was awesome. Let's move into the next game now. All right, so in this game, you guys are a little bit ahead. I mean, even on the scores, but you're a bit ahead in kills, and you're playing Johanna this time. Johanna is usually known as one of the better peeling tanks in the game. There are other exceptions that are really good, but that's oftentimes what I hear when people talk about Johanna. Let's explain your thought process as this fight's popping up.
All right, well, just to start and to correct a slight idea, Johanna is a peeling tank, except for when Blessed Shield is up. And as you can see by that message right now, I am pinging my team that Blessed Shield is in fact up. So if you look at what my team composition is in the top left corner, you're going to see we are very much about blow up. We have the twin silences of Alarak, Stukov. We have Li Ming, who thrives on resetting and one-shotting. And the enemy team doesn't have a healer like Uther or something that can really super sustain it. So our composition wants to try and find any of the enemy's backliners and end the fight very quickly. From there, we can then use resets to continue the fight. So what you're going to see me right at the beginning is looking for a Blessed Shield pick, and specifically I'm going to work together with our Alarak, who has the level 7 range, which is really going to help him find this. So basically, the short of this is the enemy wants this fight to go long. We want this fight to be very, very fast and clean. So I'm pinging to my team, Blessed Shield is up. I hit a trap, which is kind of silly of me. Alarak gets a good pull, I get a good combo, and just like that, as I said, our team has already won the fight. Butcher hasn't even dismounted, and the fight is already over. This is exactly what you want with this type of team. Now, as I said, the second Johanna uses her kit, or uses Blessed Shield, she becomes one of the worst engaged tanks in the game, but still is very capable of peeling, especially with blinds on heroes like Butcher, and funny enough, Chromie as well, though this Chromie did not go Bronze Talons, which is a little surprising. Now that I look at it, I retract what I just said. Not very good at blinding Chromie if she doesn't go Bronze Talons. But no, most Chromies do, so in those cases it would be fine. Anyways, at this point, we have the fight won. We've got a 4v5 for 20 seconds. The objectives are spawning, as you can see in the bottom right corner. We really just want to make this as clean as possible and just take both objectives. Honestly, the kills at this point aren't even worth it. They're just icing on the cake, icing on top of the cake. So as you're going to see, I'm going to peel back a little bit. I try to set up this Deckard Cane, but mostly I just want to make sure none of my teammates die. I'm going to pressure in. We've now built enough space. So at this point, we've now corralled the enemy team into this bottom right fort. My Li Ming is going for bot altar. My Stukov is going for top right altar. My only goal at this point is just to prevent them from getting past to interrupt them. That's all I want. We're not looking for kills anymore. I just want to keep them corralled here. So if you're going to play this out, we're going to get slept and trapped. I unstoppable this, but my teammate gets caught by it. Falstad's about to get hit by a Chromie combo, but it will not kill him. Unfortunately, this will wake him up. Alarak, however, is not so lucky as he's almost in fort range as well. So this is our Alarak and our Falstad overstepping a tiny bit. I believe we're going to get out of this, though. All right, so what you're going to see right here is our whole team making an effort to peel specifically. Our Stukov even comes back down once he sees us, which is a good decision by him. Our Alarak unstoppables this, but as you saw, I got in a position where I could blind both the Tyrael and the Butcher. They then got pushed away. I'm now going to move over to the right and try to pull the Tyrael back towards his fort so that my Alarak can walk out to the left. I also noticed this temporal loop by Chromie, so ideally, if I can walk in front of her Q2, that will also protect my Falstad from taking damage. Oh, I don't actually have my W up. That was a misspeak by me. Either way, we've accomplished goal 1. We've gotten the bottom altar. I'm now going to take a more defensive position because we need to cap the top one still. And so we're going to move up. I'm no longer going to be positioned outside the fort because it's not as important I keep them corralled there. Instead, I'm going to control this choke I'm currently standing on so that the enemy cannot get past when we're trying to cap this. This is me clearing the wave and just being annoying to the enemy team, keeping them corralled, as I said. And there we have the altar. We've got both clean. I now want to get out. We no longer have cooldowns. We no longer have my teammate behind me. We no longer have any reason to even be down here. So at this point, I'm just going to mount up, look for something else. I believe the thing at this point is going to be this camp. But basically, this should show you how much the objective really influences what you're trying to do, as well as how much your team composition's goal should influence your positioning. In this case, I took a deep flank around. I hit a trap, which was unfortunate, but the Alarak had my back. He set up a perfect kill on Zueljin, and we managed to get a very, very clean and decisive win while only getting one kill. And that really just goes to show how much one kill can really matter in these fights, as if it's clean at least.
Okay, so we're on the last video here, the last game, and this is at level 1, and we have quite a strange draft of Vikings and Abathur and 3 heroes. We got the Johanna, the Greymane, and the Malfurion. In this particular fight, I was just watching it, and it just seemed like a really interesting fight because it was at level 1 when everyone doesn't really have too many talents. They don't have anything crazy. So it could be kind of difficult to engage, and it could also be kind of difficult to peel just because of lack of tools. So what was going through your mind at this point when you knew that any fight that they engaged in would be a 3v5?
All right, so I mean, the big things to take into account are one, when everyone's this early on, like basic ability cooldowns are everything. Like if you whiff a spell, that should be punished. And in this case, we did a little early, we did a little late here, but the Rhaegar just bit into me, which means he cannot wolf for like 3 seconds. So the other thing to take into account is not just my cooldowns, but also Abathur's hat. Johanna's actually a really good target for Abathur hat because you can do so much damage. And then the final thing to take into account in this fight is Diablo is one of the worst heroes at level 1 in the entire game. He has Feast on Fear, which kind of makes up for it, but the enemy team really doesn't want to be fighting on our side of the map too much. They more want to be pushing at us, bullying us around with other means. So the enemy engaged on us, on our side of the map, it was a good opportunity to bully them, and the Abathur really capitalizes on what I'm trying to do. So right now, I have my Laws of Hope running. Oh, I still have the faster turned on. Laws of Hope running, and during this duration... Oh, actually, no, it's not Laws of Hope. Right now, I have the Malfurion heal on me, as well as an Abathur hat, so I'm not really afraid of the damage I'm taking. These two of Rhaegar and Diablo aren't going to threaten me, and as I said, cooldowns. This Jaina just blew her cooldowns and does not have much threat on me. She doesn't have 7, which means she can't machine gun ice bolts at me, like frost bolts at me, and this Lunar is not even looking at me. So right now, I'm sitting pretty. My biggest thing right now is what I want to look for is to set up this Greymane to kill one of these targets. Ideally, this Rhaegar. Now, unfortunately, his wolf is back up at this point. At least it should be soon. I blow Unstoppable. There's Jaina's spells, so she's kind of useless for a bit. Unfortunately, the Greymane does get flipped into the spells. He's now chunked. I was trying to disengage after blowing all my spells because I was waiting until my spells to get back up. That being said, with Greymane getting chunked like this, he's now going to try and roll to the left, which means I need to make some space for him. So I'm going to run back in here and get on this Rhaegar. This forces them to turn around. The Abathur hat's doing damage. I no longer have the damage to kill this Rhaegar, so I'm going to then try and set up this Diablo. The Diablo is more importantly because this Greymane can hit him safely. Jaina has no spells, so she's not really a threat, and Lunar is way too out of position to really threaten us either, so I can go as hard as I want right now. Now, the Jaina does slow me, so I'm not going to be able to catch this. At this moment, the Lunar has rejoined the fight and is now actively putting threat onto my Malfurion here. The Rhaegar and Diablo are out of the fight and too far away for us to kill. As I said in the last video, Johanna's not really great at aggressing onto opponents unless Blessed Shield is up. So the bigger thing here is I need to now make some space so Lunara doesn't kill this Malfurion, especially because Jaina's spells are about to come up. So you're going to see me pressure out the wave blind there, probably wasted blind. Don't get the kill, but as you see, like another case of me making space so that my Greymane can get out freely.
And everyone just about now seems like they're out. But yeah, this was crazy. I mean, you told me earlier that level 1 fights are some of your favorite fights, and it's crazy to watch some of these.
I mean, level 1 fights are so impactful specifically just because of, like, as I said, how impactful basic ability cooldowns are. No one has CDR. No one has any of their, like, talents that reserve mana. As you can see, that one fight alone took Jaina from, like, near full mana to 0 mana. That's just goes to show, like, what these type of spells can do. And as I said, the second Jaina's Blizzard and E come down, Jaina, like, no longer is really a hero. Lunara can do some more productive things. Diablo's not very strong at this point. And it was one of these like weaknesses early game are how we were able to take advantage of this team early despite only fighting a 3v4. That being said, the biggest thing to take away there is specifically when an enemy is focusing one of your teammates and it looks like they're under any threat whatsoever of dying, it is your job as a tank to make some space for that retreat provided you don't die yourself in that. So that's one thing you saw happen a lot there. I was changing between trying to get the kill on Rhaegar. The second I couldn't get the kill on Rhaegar, I needed to make sure that Greymane doesn't get counter killed. So there's a lot of swapping back and forth with that. Now, unfortunately, we don't get any kills here, but the enemy is chunked. They're blowing their taps early, and we're going to be able to out-sustain them because Malfurion is a god when it comes to sustain. So it's going to be better in the long run for us.
Oh, definitely. Like we just saw, Diablo already picked his fountain up. We saw that Jane is going to be picking up her fountain up right now. Rhaegar picked up his fountain. So you guys triggered 3 fountains, and the only one on your team that picked up theirs was Greymane. So very, very strong engage, and it's crazy how something so small, like just a small level 1 fight right there, could trigger that much momentum for the rest of the game. So this was definitely a good one, and yeah, I really enjoyed this one. So thank you so much, Ishb00, for helping me out with this, answering one of the most common questions that I get for tanks. And as we've seen in the videos, it is kind of what we were thinking. There's no right answer of you should always engage or you should always peel. It does go back and forth, and it also adds a lot of complexity to tanking. Like I mean, my eyes were open about how much you were thinking about in these small little fights, where it just seemed like it was something small, but you had so many things going on of, oh, I should be pulling this person away and blocking this skill shot at the same time. So it was really awesome. I thank you so much, Ishb00. Now, what do you have going on right now? What do you want to share with everyone who's watching this video?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's honestly been a pleasure. But for those of you, if you want to follow more stuff by me or by my team, I have a YouTube channel of my own under the name Ishb00. But more importantly, you can follow us all at heroeshearth.com. We post not just our videos or stream links, as well as written guides and builds for any of the heroes you want to see. I specifically suggest checking out some of my teammates' Twitch channels, as right now Twitch drops are enabled, which means you can get in-game rewards for watching hot streamers. And then finally, we are, of course, an HEC team. We're going to be playing this coming Saturday. So, the Saturday, what's the exact date, actually, for that one? This coming Saturday, the 30th. Come check us out and cheer us on if you like this type of content. We'd love to have your support, and your support does mean a lot to us. Anyways, once again, thank you, Paradox, for having me.
Oh, thank you so much, Ishb00. And yeah, check them out on HGC. Heroes Hearth has been killing it. They did very well at Midsummer Brawl. And yeah, so... And for everyone else, thank you so much for watching. If you like anything from Ishb00, we will have all of the links to his YouTube as well as his Heroes Hearth and anything else down below in the description, so make sure to check that out. And feel free to subscribe if you like any of my content, and feel free to check out some of my other videos. Thank you so much.